Good morning and happy Tuesday, April 28th. I have to admit that this morning's video is as much for me as it is for anybody. I didn't feel like making a video this morning, and then I realized, as I've been telling everybody else, these are times that we've got to talk to ourselves and not listen to ourselves. And when I was listening to myself, I just didn't feel like doing it. I wondered, what message could I possibly bring that would be helpful to anybody? And then I realized the message needed to be as much for me as it was for anybody. And what I was reminded of is this idea of staying above the line. You've heard me talk before about this whole idea of staying above the line. The challenge we have is that whenever we perceive a threat, whether there's a real threat or we perceive a threat, and right now it doesn't matter whether this coronavirus is a real threat, what your perspective around that is, or whether it's just a perceived threat. The reality for all of us, and we say that perception is reality, is that there's a threat. And what happens, and you've heard me talk about cortisol, we have stress and fear and anxiety and uncertainty, and our brains are hardwired for self-preservation and to go into protection mode when we're in these kinds of situations. And unfortunately, what that does is that forces us below the line, and we're not as effective. We don't think as clearly. In fact, the best part of our brains shut down during those times so that our bodies can redirect all of the energy towards fight, flight, and freeze mode. So what I want to encourage you is, the first thing we got to do is recognize, am I above the line or below the line? And right now, man, the majority of us are going to be below the line at some point in our days, if not for a large part of our days, especially if we're in isolation. The thing is, though, we have a choice. We can remain open and curious and committed to learning and to realize what I know is enough to think I'm right, but not enough to realize maybe I'm wrong. And so how do I make the choice that I'm going to stay open and I'm going to move forward? I'm going to stay positive, because the best part of us, when we can reduce the amount of cortisol and we can focus on being above the line, is that's where we need the connection. Right now in isolation, we're struggling with connection. We need greater connection. During these uncertain times, and we're looking for new beginnings, we need innovation. And we absolutely need to collaborate with each other, whether it's on Zoom or by the phone or some other way. But the tendency is for us to stay, even if our businesses are open, and a lot of your stores are open, and we think that with our reduced staff, we're just trying to be in cope. What we got to do is keep moving forward. We got to figure out, what is this going to look like? And we need creativity. So we need all the stuff that is available to us when our brain is alive and when we're above the line. So my encouragement to you today is to stay above the line. And when you find yourself below the line, is to think back and talk to yourself. Remind yourself to stay open and curious, committed to learning, and to realize we're going to get through this. And we just need to keep moving forward to the best of our ability. So be encouraged today. Make it a great rest of the week.